in the classification of Kenya. We looked at the linguistic and then the physical classification. So Kenya is facing a multitude of challenges that have hindered its progress. So Kenya, modern Kenya is facing what we call economic challenges. Economically, Kenya is challenged. This includes the significant public debt, which has more than doubled in the last 5 years. So almost 5 trillion shillings. Are we together? The debt is doubled. The debt Kenya is having outside from different countries has doubled. So we expect that whenever the country's debt increases, there are higher chances of the government introducing new taxes. And whenever they introduce new taxes, there is a group of people suffering from the introduction of the new taxes. So Kenya has got a challenge of tax increase to 75%. So the debt burden is extracted by China, being Kenya's largest lender, accounting for about 75% of its debt. So we are seeing Kenya having the lender, China, being the largest lender to Kenya. So Kenya is getting debts from China. And because of the huge debts they get from China, Kenya has faced a challenge of paying this debt. So one of the puzzling factors that is facing the modern Kenya is the huge debt that falls under the economic sector. So whenever the country's debt increases, that calls for the government to introduce new methods of getting the debt covered. And one of them is either to increase on the taxes or to introduce new taxes. At the end of the day, it ends up hurting the lower classes, which may end up causing chaos in a given estate. So Kenya is facing economic challenges in its journey to develop. We have poverty. And inequality. Poverty and inequality is also another challenge that modern Kenya is facing. So with about 36.1% of 36.1% of Kenya's population living below the international poverty line of $1.90 a day. So we are looking at a population that is high, but it is poor. So in Kenya, 36.1% of the Kenyan population, they are poor. And if you look at the way they survive a day, if someone spends $1.90 a day, so the poverty rate is projected to have declined from 35 to 35.8% in 2022 to 35.1% to 2023. But there is still a long way to go. Are we together? So they are trying to show us that, however, from 36.1% of the poverty level Kenya had in the beginning, but in the year 2022, they are trying to show that now the poverty level is reducing, and by 2023, it is now on 35.1. In 2023, the poverty level is reducing, but still, Kenya is still having a long way to go towards its development. Kenya is facing a problem of corruption. So in other significant, corruption is another significant challenge, with many Kenyans considering it as a national problem. So parts over a day, are we together? Part over everyday life. Corruption denies Kenyans credible elections, undermines the judiciary, and cripples the economy. So one of the challenges that Kenya is also facing, modern Kenya, is corruption, which cripples the economy, which affects the judicial system, which affects the election system. So this, at the end of the day, keeps Kenya behind. So corruption does not only affect our country, Uganda, but even other countries are still facing the problem. Look at Kenya, modern Kenya, whereby corruption has crippled all those sectors, undermining judiciary, undermining, crippling the economy. Together. So still we have here environmental challenges. Kenya is also having environmental challenges that have at least kept it behind in terms of development. This includes the this includes the deforestation, that is the act of cutting down trees, poaching land, degradation, and water pollution. These issues are further complicated by climate change, which affects agriculture productivity and food security. So at the end of the day, Kenya is facing the problem of starvation from the people due to the fact that the climate is not stable, is not favorable, and it cannot allow agriculture. Food security is yet another problem which is resulting from famine. Still, the modern Kenya is facing a problem of youth unemployment. Youth unemployment, this is whereby we are seeing many of the youth in Kenya having no jobs. They are unemployed, they have graduated, people have gone to school, they have studied, they are now having papers, but they don't have jobs. So in a present concern with many graduates are struggling to find employment. This has led to social crimes and a sense of depression among the Kenyans. So the Kenyans that have gone to school, they have got depression from lacking jobs. People do not have ways of surviving. At the end of the day, it is crippling development. So lastly, on the factors, the challenges facing modern Kenya, we have the healthy challenges, including HIV/AIDS, adult prevalence rate with about 1.6 million people living with HIV in Kenya. So although the youth education has helped to reduce new infections there, still a need for increased access to an interval of treatment. So in Kenya, we have almost 1.6 million people who are victims of HIV. So HIV has led Kenya backward. It has crippled its development. And many of the people have died due to the fact they are victims of HIV. So those are some of the challenges that modern Kenya is facing. So when we come back here, we shall look at the white settlers in Kenya.